Hello everyone. So in this video, I'm going to take you through the risk management project which I have been working on lately. So this is the overall structure of the project and this is how it looks in the story view of Articulate Storyline. So we have two scenes. The first one is introduction scene and the second one is the risk management scene. So how are these connected and what is the overall flow of the project? I'll just explain quickly. So firstly, we have the enter your name slide. Okay, and then once we have the user has inputted their name, the flow is going to jump to the next scene, and then we are going to have few introductory slides on objectives, definitions, and the process of risk management. And then from the process, it is going to flow back to our introduction scene, and then it's going to get connected to the welcome slide. So this is how I have connected it by selecting the navigation to welcome slide, and this is how our overall project flows. So if I click on this introduction scene, then you can see the slides which I have put in here. And so I have made comprehensive use of variables, drag and drop interactions, states, layers, and all the main features which Articulate Storyline provides us to make the interaction as immersive as possible. So let me just quickly go through the demonstration. So I have published the course on my system, and this is how the output looks like. So firstly, on the first screen, it is asking us to input our name. So I'll input my name here. So let's just do this. And now it is getting captured in the variable which I have created in Articulate Storyline. So that is going to get stored there. So I'm going to click next now. So I'll just give you the context of this project. So the project is basically a risk management workshop is going to happen, and before that workshop we are making our workforce to go through this training so that they are better prepared for the workshop and they know basics of the risk management, right? So over here we have the objectives. What is a risk? Review each risk type. Okay, so basic, nothing fancy, simply a slide which I have put it in the Articulate Storyline. And then definition of risk, it can be a positive consequence. A risk can have a positive consequence or a negative consequence. Yeah, and basic definitions and terminologies and the basic processes. And then once we have gone through it, then the way I explained it in Articulate Storyline, our control is moving back to our scene one, right? And then over here we have the welcome slide. Hey Ankit, glad to see you here. So the on the first slide, the name which has got captured in the variable, it is now getting displayed here, right? And then basic introductory stuff. And then once I click on next, then we have some pop-up quiz. And for this, obviously I have used the storyline quizzing feature. And if I select according to the basic terminology which I just observed, risk can be positive or negative. So yes, and then this I have set this answer as correct, so that's why our our program is responding in that way. And if I click on transfer, avoid, and then click on next, so it is going to tell us incorrect. So now the way I have programmed here is that I have given the user 2 attempts. So I will just click on try again here, and I have one more attempt. So this is how I can identify basically identify and strategize for my risk accordingly. So all the options are correct here, and that's how I have put it in storyline. And now if I click on the checkbox, so it's going to give me correct response. So very easy to use the feature in Articulate Storyline. Quizzing feature is really very easy to use. So now this is where we get into real immersion, and this is where I have used the features which are storyline specific, and they are really cool and fun to play around with. So over here, the people who I am going to meet in the risk management workshop, over there they are kind of here, right? And in order to make it immersive and interactive, what I have done is I have asked user to hover over the person, and that then person is going to give us their introduction. So as soon as I hover over Alexa, I can see the basic information about her. Hi, I am Alexa. I've been in the company for 10 years, and similarly for Andrew. So the way it works and the way I have programmed it in Articulate is basically we are using what state management here. So as soon as I am hovering over Andrew, the program is such and the logic is such that we are changing the state of Andrew. So we have two states of Andrew. One is normal and the another one is happy. And as soon as I hover over it, it is changing to the happy state. And in that happy state, I have put up one dialog box as well. So and then we have just simply set a trigger, which is changing the state as soon as I'm hovering it. So the logic becomes like this, like I have just created a new trigger in storyline, and when I am hovering over Andrew, the trigger is firing up and then changing the state of the person. And similarly, same approach for all the persons. So really immersive and really interactive and really fun to play around with. So now that we have the introduction from the board, let's move on to the next part. So now each board member is going to tell me about a risk scenario, right? And I have to read up this risk scenario, and then to make it further more interactive, I have just placed a button over here, and as soon as I click continue, we have another layer which is getting displayed here. So over here, the feature which I have used from Articulate Storyline is layering, right? So as soon as I'm clicking the continue button, I've set up a trigger there, and once that trigger is fired up, we are changing the we are not changing, we are just showing up the next layer which I designed on this slide. So this is how that's working. And then we have the second risk coming from the second board member, and similarly the rest of the two board members are going to introduce us their risks as well, right? So by doing this little things, what happens is that the course and the e-learning experiences become interactive, and the user really wants to interact with. Simple, if we keep projecting the slides, it is not going to be much interactive and engaging, and that's why we are encouraged to make use of such features in Articulate wherever possible, so that the learning experience is becoming immersive and interactive. So small things like just hovering over the people and then changing the state to happy smiling face. So these small things and small tips and tricks makes the learning experience really interactive. So that's why I've incorporated them. And then we are finally taking the user's risk here. Once the board members have introduced their risk, I'm taking the user's risk here. So over here, once again, the variable is getting displayed here, and I can type my risk over here. Let's just add sample risk XYZ. And now this dynamically is going to get captured into the variable which I have created in Storyline. And as soon as I click on submit, we are going to go ahead to the next slide. So over there on the submit button, you can yourself guess what I would have done. I would just simply added a trigger, and again, instead of putting a next button, I simply moved the next slide as soon as the user is clicking the submit button. And now we have really cool feature that I have used in Storyline, which is drag and drop interactions. So drag and drop really makes the learning experience gamified and interactive, and the user really wants to interact with it. So what this prompt is telling us, take each risk and drop it in the risk category where it belongs to. Okay, technical, contractual, organizational, or project management. So again, so drag and drop functionality of Articulate Storyline is something which I have used here, and all those 4 risks which the board members introduced us, now we are being asked to categorize it. So the way I have programmed it is, like, if I am putting it in a wrong box, then it is going to get flipped back to its original place, and only if I put it into the right category, which is technical over here, it is going to get disappeared. So how I would have done it, what I have done here is, basically as soon as it is going to the right box, I have simply set a trigger, and then I am simply making the object disappear. So that's how our logic is working, and if it is not correct, then it is bouncing back to its original position. So really simple to make it happen in Articulate Storyline, nothing really fancy. and it can be done. Just you have to play around with a couple of things. And once I am done with this, so the user risk which I have entered here, you can see it is getting displayed here. So again, it is getting captured in the variable which I have created in storyline, and it is getting referenced here, right? And as soon as I click on here, I have created one more layer where it is telling me that we won't be categorizing our risk right now, right? Why I have done it such in this way? Because we don't know what is user going to enter, right? So we don't have an idea that where should I be putting it in my drag and drop interaction. That's why we have worked around it and simply created a layer which is getting displayed, and this layer is telling me that although we won't be categorizing your risk today, that we should be bringing our risk to the workshop, that we will be categorizing it in workshop. And then I have simply put a close button over here and again set up a trigger to, as soon as I am clicking the close button, the layer is getting what disappeared, right? So that's it. With this, once I click on the checkbox, I am getting a prompt that's right, and we selected all the correct responses in our drag and drop interaction. And then once I click next, our course is over, and we are seeing all the board members really cheering up for us, and their expressions are changing to surprised face if I am hovering over them. So really a fun way to end the course. I hope you liked it, and do drop in your feedbacks in the comment section and let me know whatever suggestions or more ideas you are having around it. Thanks for watching.